quarters. Where the buckets be. I'ma play the corners.
Hi, welcome to
where the
JD Sports.
hustlers
I'm
be.
Jarrett.
I told 'em,
That's the way you can follow
please don't
personal
die
Twitter on
over
the
the
show. Twitter page
neighborhood
is that
that your mama
_
ran.
JD Sports.
Take your drug
A lot of
money,
sports.
get by the neighborhood.
A lot of sports
That's
To
how
get
you
into, if you maybe you can, maybe you can't see the Christmas lights behind us. It is
No, you definitely can.
Christmas time.
It's along this side-ish.
We feel the Christmas lights all around us in the room.
They
look
don't
really
see
nice
it,
to
but I
Dwight,
mean-
in Dwight's apartment, they look really good.
I appreciate it. I try out here.
Christmas time, the beginning of the month usually means it's my birthday, so that's been exciting. Yes.
Time out.
We missed a week, Dwight, last week.
We didn't miss a week. And there's been a lot that's been going on.
There has
First
been
of
a
all.
lot, yes.
But, no, before we get started,
Yeah.
happy fucking birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everybody who has shouted out to me. I've had a lot of love, so JD Sports.
As you should. I mean,
Had a great weekend. I got to go see Jay-Z, my favorite, Hova. His birthday is December 4th. Mine is December 5th. So
wild.
that's exciting.
It's kinda wild.
And I got to see him on December 1st. And then the next day I got to see the Flyers in the morning and the Sixers at night. So it was
I'm
literally
sorry for half of that, but
the
I mean...
greatest, I got to see 3 events in less than 24 hours in the Wells Fargo Center.
Same arena.
Which is my favorite.
I didn't know it was going to be all in the
It
same
was
arena.
all in the same arena, yeah. So my favorite artist, my favorite rap artist, my favorite artist of all time, though.
Right.
Obviously, my hockey team and my basketball team. Allen Iverson was in the building during the Sixers game. So
I saw that
my
you said
favorite
that.
artist.
Why was he there? That's so random.
He actually went to last night's game as well, which is like a couple nights later. But the night that I was there, he
When
went.
you're broke, you have nothing to do.
There
What
was
do you do?
somebody who was honored up in the front offices, and who was like there for a long time, and so like he was one of the players that was there to honor him as well because he worked with him, I guess. But
Fair enough.
he goes to I'd say about 10 games a year from everything. I always see him on TV about 5-10 times a year. A couple years ago when I went, it was the doubleheader as well. The Flyers and the Sixers played in the same day, and he was at the game I went to that year as well. So that was it was luck, but it's pretty cool. But to be able to see Iverson and Hove in the same building less than 24 hours from each other.
It's crazy.
Plus this Flyers game
For
squeezed
you.
in between. It was actually one of the coolest things I've ever done. Flyers lost 3-0. It was their 10th straight loss. They did win the next game 5-3, but
That's your luck.
yeah, the game,
Yeah, that's your freedom luck.
But
No, I mean,
Sixers
hey,
won when
hey,
I was there,
you
and
know
the Jay-Z concert was as good as it gets. Because as you know, obviously him being my personal favorite, that's obvious. He
Right.
played
That's
everything.
His Michael.
Yeah,
That's his Michael.
You can't top anything.
For him.
For
For
me.
him.
For
For
me.
him.
Right.
Let's
Exactly.
clarify
So
that.
yeah. Right. So
No, let me, happy birthday.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
So, all y'all that are watching right now, make sure y'all leave a comment or
Appreciate it.
whatever. Make sure y'all holler at my man and say happy birthday. Happy birthday, my man.
Thank you, sir.
Glad you enjoyed it.
We skipped.
Hopefully next year we do something together or
Yeah, we be talking about it.
we
JD Sports is in the works with it.
we'll figure something out. But hopefully next year we can do a collective thing.
Yes. That sounds like a good idea to me, and I'm in. Team turn up right here. We missed a week of sports, Dwight.
We did.
In
We
that
missed
week
a
of
lot.
sports,
We missed
a lot of things happened.
A lot.
There was some fights over chains again. Where
There was some fights in the UFC, which
yeah.
that's a whole nother story.
The fights over chains only got 1 suspension, and the fights between the other 2 receivers got 0 suspension, and Gronk laying on a guy also only got 1 suspension, even though the fights with the chains got 2 and reduced to 1 suspension. We'll get into all that.
And the fights in UFC, I didn't see because I thought of it, then I forgot. We didn't even talk about why didn't we have a show last week? Because
Work.
we've been working a lot.
We've been working a lot.
A lot.
We have been
whole
working
lot,
a lot.
A whole lot.
My days off because of my birthday weekend was pretty
All messed up.
It got worked out for me because I ended up being able to take a couple days off because of it, or else I'd be like dead tired right now. Probably like you are dead tired because we've been working a lot. We
a lot.
work in the same building, different jobs, but
Same company.
Same company, but
60-hour weeks.
yeah,
overtime.
absolutely.
We're working crazy amount of hours right now. Put a smile on y'all faces, so don't forget it.
Behind the smile.
But there was a UFC fight, and like I said, I completely forgot about it, and it's annoying because I wanted to watch it, but It is what it is.
Well, the opening topic last week that I wanted to talk about, before we get into the fights, the opening topic last week that I want to talk about
was
Eli Manning got benched. And
this was the topic last week.
There is no proper way to bench anybody. There is no proper way to bench a future Hall of Famer. There is no way to...
Pineapples. Did you just say that with a straight face?
I don't know if he's a future Hall of Famer, but if he is, at least in their eyes... Look, if you talk to the Giants organization, every fan and every person in that organization is going to say, if they have a vote, they would call him a future Hall of Famer. Let me put it to you that way. And he's a top 3 most important player of their franchise ever. Yes, I mean he's up there top 3 to top 5 most LT, Strahan, Sims, Sizen.
There's your 4.
Him, Tiki, but Tiki's not as important as him. He won 2 Super Bowls. Tiki did not even win a Super Bowl.
I'll put him over Tiki. You're right. Outside of the New York thing, I mean.
Okay, but
who else is giving him that credit though?
Okay, and
Nobody.
You could debate if he's a Hall. I don't. He's in the Hall of pretty good. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But it's also not Hall of Stats. So in that argument, maybe he is a Hall of Famer. I don't know. We'll talk about that when his career is fully over. Point being, the Giants fans and the Giants organization and the Giants owner at least wants to put the stick on that. They look at him as future Hall of Famer. We do nothing but respect him. And they look at themselves as that organization that doesn't fire coaches in the middle of the season, doesn't fire GMs in the middle of the season. They haven't fired a GM since 1971. They haven't fired a coach in the middle of the season since 1976. They haven't fired a GM at all since 1971. They have all retired. They've let these guys walk out the door. And they were trying to let this last one do that as well. He was the man. He was the architect behind 2 Super Bowls. But those 2 Super Bowls, Dwight, are almost 10 years ago at this point.
And outside of Giants people kind of just shrug at it. They're like, oh yeah, they got the Super Bowl. They got the 2nd Super Bowl.
And they got hot. But neither of those teams won more than 10 games. One team won 9 games, the other won 10 games. Neither of them were dominant teams. Both of them lost combined double-digit in combined double-digit losses. Yes, they won 2 Super Bowls and they got hot at the end of both of those seasons, but it's not. I'm not saying it's fluky in any way, shape, or form because Eli Manning did his job and those defenses were very good. But
dude, you can't name 2 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that people just kind of shrug off, other than Eli Manning. You can't name another one.
Trent Dilfer. Trent Dilfer?
He only won 1 now.
Oh, you're saying somebody who won 2?
Yeah, right. I'm not saying Trent Dilfer was a fluke because of the circumstances.
I'll give you that.
That's the thing. You can't name.
No, I'll give you that.
Other than Eli Manning,
that.
there is not a quarterback that you can name that won 2 Super Bowls.
I'll give you that.
And look, kind of just shrug off and look, he's not that good.
And you know me, championships in general, but especially Super Bowls in football is not how we should classify anything. Dan Marino didn't win any. He's a much better quarterback than Eli is. Eli is also a better quarterback than I think people give him credit, but I think it's the Romo syndrome where the bad looks worse than the good, but the good for Eli, his good is literally the highest of the mountain.
The fact that you can compare a 2-time winning Super Bowl champion to Tony Romo who won, 2 playoff games?
Do you think Romo's going to make the Hall of Fame? I think we had this conversation before. And again, I don't think it's the Hall of Stats. It's the Hall of Fame. He had enough fame, so it's possible. In his story, he might be the best story of all time in the NFL. I will consistently say that this man was an undrafted quarterback, and he ended up playing the hardest position in the sport, the most important position in the sport at least, and at least one of the top 5 most popular franchises.
Is Tony Romo Hall of Famer? My answer is no. Okay. Is he?
I don't disagree. I don't think he's Hall of Famer.
Is he one of the best Cowboys of all time? Would he be in the Cowboys Ring of Honor?
For sure. Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's pushing it, but I wouldn't argue it. I would not put him in the Hall of Fame. I would be okay if he win the Ring of Honor or whatever for the Cowboys.
I agree with both those statements. But back to Eli. Okay, so the way they sat him, they don't like to do this, right? And they came to him, the GM came to him and said, Eli, we don't want to break your streak of starting, so what we're going to do is sometime in the second quarter, maybe the third quarter, we're going to sit you for Geno. And he said, and I like this from Eli, if you're not going to play me the whole game to win the game, then I don't want to play at all. Because I'm here to win the game, and that's not fair to myself or Geno. And Geno should have a chance to win the game from the first snap to the last snap. If you're going to give him a chance to win the game, give him a chance to win the entire game. And if you're going to give me a chance to win the game, give me a chance to win the entire game. But do not sit here and just start me just because of a streak. Because I'm with Eli on that. That's not what it's about. Eli started those games with the intentions of winning every single one of those games. He's not going to go out here and start the next one, and the next one, and the next one with, I'm just out here just because, well, I started all these games in a row. He was never going to catch Brett Favre. He's like 40-some games behind Brett Favre, so he need to play like a couple more years to do this. He's not going to play a couple more years. He's going to play maybe 2 or 3 more years. He's not going to play 5 or 6 years, which he needs to do to break the streak anyway. So Eli looked at it as, it doesn't matter anyways. It's an impressive streak. I think it was 250-something games in a row.
Yippee. Fuck the streak.
That's a really long time for
Yeah,
that's a violent
cool.
game.
That's cool. That's irrelevant to me. You know?
He's won 2 Super Bowls in that
cool.
span.
That's cool. It's so irrelevant to me.
He hasn't missed a snap.
Mine's top. Like, does he want a cookie? Like,
No.
I don't care. Like,
There's
that's
something
cool.
to it. There's something to it.
Is he good though? Is he great though? Right.
He's good.
That's the more
He's
important
good.
conversation. Damn the
He's
whole.
good.
He never misses a step. Like,
He's good.
There's punters and kickers who never miss a step.
All right.
I don't care.
And I'm not saying he's a
Like,
baller.
it's impressive.
And honestly,
it's impressive, but who cares? Who cares outside of the historical value?
We
of
were
the
both
stat?
saying earlier in the year, and I was saying, why not give Geno Smith a shot? And everyone else is now saying Davis Webb now that Geno Smith looked bad the week after. But
So that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. And why would you not?
we were saying that earlier in the season. And so I'm not against what they're doing. What did I say before the year when everyone said that they thought the Giants were going to be one of the best teams in the division? I thought they were not going to be one of the best teams in the division, and I said because Eli Manning's not that good. I didn't think Eli was that good. Listen, they won 11 games last year. 9 of their 11 games were less than 7 points, and their defense was in the top 5 categories for everything last year. This year they are not, and there's your absolute difference. Their offense wasn't even that productive last year or this year with Odell in it. Fairly productive at times last year with Odell, not at all this year. He got hurt early.
Okay, so now that you're done going 300 miles per hour, guess what? It doesn't matter because guess who's starting next week?
Eli, but we're going to get into why they fired the coach. They fired the GM.
Oh.
Before we get into that, Steve Spagnuolo is going to be the intern coach, and Spags was up for their job twice, and they didn't give it to him, and now he's going to be their interim coach for the rest of the season, and he's now going to start Eli. Anyways, look, the owner is also claiming that he had nothing to do with this, and so he's going to fire these 2 guys. Not because of how they handled it. He said because 2 and 10 is 2 and 10.
He's a dick.
He's hiding behind that because he did this because he wanted to get out from under Eli Manning, and he has his way out now. Now he doesn't have to re-sign Eli. He doesn't have to give any discount. He can move on quarterback-wise and feel like he wasn't the guy who did it, even though he clearly is the guy who did it. Got rid of these 2 guys, able to get rid of these 2 guys when he was going to just get rid of these 2 guys anyways, and is able to start completely fresh with a pretty decent talent outside of the quarterback position.
I don't know what this man just said. He just went from 300 miles per hour to 250, but Giants look like a bunch of dicks right now.
Yes, agreed.
Can I just say that? Can I just say that?
Would you start Eli this week? Davis Webb has to come into the next couple games. You got to see what he does. And if you're down 2 touchdowns to Dallas, maybe you bring him in then, but
if I'm starting Eli this week, that means I would have started him last week. This is that bullshit where... This is why I'm saying that they look like a joke right now as in the Giants organization, because you can't as an owner come out and say, well, it was up to me, but it wasn't up to me, but it was up to me because if I would have said something, he would have continued to be my starter. So why didn't you say anything last week?
You had 3 days after it was announced to make a phone call to anybody you wanted to.
And you can't tell me the head coach or the GM or whoever all of a sudden was just like, I'm making this decision without the owner knowing or being able to say anything within that time frame. That's bullshit.
The head coach had some shades on down here, right down around his nose. Had a cig in his mouth, and he looked right in the owner's face, and he said, "We're starting Gino, and there's nothing you can do about it.
I'm the boss.
You hear me?
I'm the boss. You heard."
Puffing a cigarette, you know what I mean? Looking at the owner, pushing his glasses back up, saying, "We're going to Oakland. We're going to win this thing." They lost.
And then
Gino looked bad. They don't have a good team. It's not Eli or Gino's fault. Not that Eli's a good quarterback or Gino's a good quarterback. It's not their fault they're losing these games necessarily. It's the whole roster seems to have given up. The offensive line does not look that good. They can't get a run game going. They have no wide receivers.
Yep, they do.
Their tight end, who is their best player right now, is third in the league in drops.
Yippee. Then we fire you, who made that bullshit statement, and then we fire the GM. Like, as an owner, like, to me, people, if this was Jerry Jones, can you imagine the freaking backlash that would have came on this man?
But there's a lot of backlash on the Giants, and there should be.
I feel like there's not enough.
I listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and a lot of sports talk radio people have been going off on them. Dan Levitar, Colin Cowherd, and Dan Patrick, which I listened to all three of them, all talked extensively about.
Have they gotten enough?
But I don't know. I haven't watched a lot of TV. I've just listened to those three.
I feel like they've gotten some, but I don't feel like they've gotten enough. As a whole, this organization should be reprimanded.
Look, since
because it's a joke.
The kicker thing, since the Josh Brown thing with the way they mishandled that a long time ago to this, the way they're mishandling this, their owners, John Mara, has been absolutely horrible. Yes,
and so let's get rid of the coach, let's get rid of GM. But at the end of the day, who is the head honcho of that whole? So maybe it's him.
Well, they need to hit the refresh button under him.
People want to put the finger. Okay,
he needs to get just like Jerry Jones said. He needs to give the football controls up. Yes,
if people want to put the finger at Jerry Jones because he's more so in the spotlight than this Giants owner is, then you need to also be like, I mean, the Giants owner. Why isn't he getting the same criticism? Why isn't this Giants owner getting the same criticism? Because he's not in the spotlight as much.
The thing
but this past week and a half, he's put himself in that spotlight. Except he's made some dumbass decisions, and he's basically moonwalking out of his alleged coach and his GM's decision, which is to bench Eli. Even though you're the owner, you can't tell me one of the two of the first dudes that I was talking about, the coach or GM, didn't run it past you. Somebody ran it past you before you made a decision to bench Eli. You can't tell me that one of the two did not put a whisper in your ear.
Oh, we completely agree on that.
That's bullshit.
Yes.
You don't play dumb,
and
that's what he's doing right now.
He wants to sell tickets this week when they play Dallas. So now Eli's going to start again.
Prime time, magically. Time in New York.
He doesn't want it to be a zoo of Dallas fans. He doesn't want the New York Giants fans to be selling their tickets to the Dallas fans.
It's a joke to me.
It is a joke.
The Giants have ran the situation as a joke, and as far as I'm concerned, it starts from the top and does trickle its way down. I don't blame the coach.
They listen to their. I think the coaches. I think
the
Tennessee Volunteers listened to their fans and didn't hire Graciano. The Giants listened to their fans and fired Ben McAdoo and their GM this week. I haven't seen people succumb to their fans the way that those two have this past week in sports ever. And maybe that's the assertion of Twitter. Maybe now it's in your pocket and you open up your phone and you have a million people tweeting at you as the AD or the owner or whatever, saying, "Oh, I hate the Giants because the way that they're letting their coach handle this," or "Oh, they need to fire McAdoo," or "Oh, they need to fire Jerry Reese." And so, whatever. I'm not saying that, but maybe that has more. Look, I have never seen an influx because the Giants don't do this. They don't just fire guys in the middle of the season. They were going to wait this out. If 2-10 is 2-10, what's the difference of 1-7 a couple weeks ago? And what is going to be the difference of 2-15 or 3-13?
And that's the bigger picture. So what does bringing Eli back? 14, but you know what I mean. What does bringing Eli back really accomplish?
Nothing, and that's
Nothing.
what that's
okay. So that goes back to the original point. They shouldn't have benched Eli then. If you weren't prepared to go forward.
But again, I think the reason the Mara family did this is because they told them to bench Eli, and then they got all the backlash in the world. And they were like, "All right, well, here's what we get out under this."
Okay, thank you for
drop the hammer on both of them.
Thank you for answering my point.
Yeah, I agree with you. I told you I agree with you. I think it's obvious to connect those dots.
What's the issue?
The
organization,
owners.
the owner, and then they lied after the fact. There it is.
Yes, and then they stood up in front of it and said it had nothing to do with the fan throwing them hot fire, but they don't run the organization this way, and all of a sudden they have a hot fire coming at them from fans, and they do this. I think
Backlash is a bitch, huh?
Pittsburgh holds himself to a higher standard. They found themselves in a lot of scuffles with Cincinnati. They're going to have a player suspended in Juju Smith for a hit on Burfict. The way he blocked him, it actually hurt Burfict, so Smith is going to get suspended for a game. Gronk got pushed off, got held the whole way down the field. Defender turned around, got the interception, fell out of bounds. Got even touched by another player just to make sure he was down, and then Gronk came down and basically forearmed him in the back of the head. The look, the man got up and dazed, blood running all over his nose and mouth.
Concussed, I believe, is the word for it.
For sure.
Are you going to say it or am I going to say it?
2 players got suspended for fighting. They got suspended 2 games and reduced down to 1 game over a chain. 2 other players didn't get suspended at all for fighting. So the inconsistency there already is a problem. But you're saying guys throwing punches with helmets on. Guys throwing punches with hands with helmets on got suspended more initially from the league than a guy who is, you'll have to look up his exact size, but I'm assuming he's like, 6'7", 230, 240, 250.
Doesn't matter. It does not matter.
He's twice the size of the other guy.
Doesn't matter.
Landed on the other guy as hard as he could. And they're trying to take all the violence out of the sport, and it is the most violent thing you can do. It was dirty. The cheapest thing you can possibly do right now is intentionally hurt somebody during these football games with the knowledge of how this is going. And there's going to be frustration.
I'm still waiting.
Does this happen?
I'm still waiting.
Does he get held the whole way down the field often? Yes. Is it him the only one? No. Is the defense, do they get screwed in these things all the time as well?
I'm still waiting on you.
If Cam Newton yelled at his coach the way Tom Brady did on the sideline this weekend, people would be saying different things than they do about Tom Brady.
You're a little closer. So, the Gronkowski hit. So, I mean, you kind of alluded to the whole thing with Cam Newton and, calling him a thug for lesser things, much lesser things.
Cam was a thug for dancing in the end zone.
For dancing in the end zone.
And yelling back at somebody who tried to shove him while he was dancing in the end zone.
I did not see one single person call Gronk a thug.
Meek Mill was deemed a threat to society for breaking a fight up in a danger to society. I apologize for breaking a fight up in an airport a couple weeks ago. He was deemed a danger to society, but Gronk just landed as hard as he could with a forearm to the back of someone else's head. That's assault.
No, that's a word. That's not quite the word I would go with, but yeah, I would go with that.
If it happened on the street, that's assault. How is this man getting one game suspension for...
Time out. Before we even get there, before we even go there, I'm not even going to call it the situation that Gronk did thuggish. I'm going to go a little more
It's
straight.
cheap.
That's polite. It was a bitch move.
Oh, I agree with that as well. Yes, absolutely.
I'm not calling Gronk a bitch.
People call KD soft.
Right. Right. And
for way less.
I do. I call Gronk... I call KD a bitch and soft for way less. But
that wasn't me calling you out. You're obviously taking it further. So you're doing your right to do doing that. I'm just saying people call KD.
I call KD a bitch for running. Right. I call KD a bitch for being quote soft.
Right. My point is people say less. People say bad things about KD for way less.
Gronk. I'm not even calling him a bitch, but that was such a bitch ass move.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was, and I like Gronk. I do not like what happened there.
There is absolutely zero defending what Gronk did.
No, I agree. We're on the same page there.
It was a bitch-ass move.
It was disgusting. He had a good game other than that, too. That sucks.
Fuck that. He's a bitch for doing that. He would be considered a thug if he was any other shade.
I agree.
And for doing far less, a.k.a. Cam Newton. But
Cam Newton danced and got,
So let's get into it. So he's gotten one fucking game?
1 game suspension and
for a blatant late ass hit well after the fact that he pulled some half-ass out of his ass apology for, and the media wants to say, well, he's a good guy, but he just made a bad choice. No, he's a good guy that made a bitch-ass decision, made a bitch-ass move, and acted like a fuck, and hit a dude well after the fact like a bitch.
Because he
And fucked him up and gave him a concussion.
He threw a temper tantrum right there on the field.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because his reason for it was he claimed,
He didn't get his way.
I don't get the calls
He didn't.
that I should be getting.
I don't know about overall, but he didn't in that
No,
particular
he
situation.
says-
Maybe not
no,
overall.
according
Maybe
to-
he's right, because he doesn't
No,
get a lot of calls
stop,
that he should. But
Stop. You know why that's bullshit? One, because that's bullshit.
he still
Two,
puts up 7 catches, 93 yards, and a touchdown a lot.
You know why it's bullshit? Gronk says, I did that out of frustration because I don't get my calls. You know why that's bullshit? Because
The defense doesn't get their calls just as much.
you're mad at the boss, right? The boss does some shit to me, right? Oh, excuse me. The boss does some shit to you.
Yeah.
You get mad. I'm going so extreme. You get mad at the boss. You come to work with a fucking gun. You shoot the boss. Out of circumstance, I'm there. You shot me. I had nothing to do with it.
Right, I know what you mean.
I did nothing
All
to
he
you.
did was he took his frustration
I did
on the wrong
nothing
guy.
to do with it. I did nothing to you, but because I was there, you decided to shoot me.
I think
That's exactly what he did to the dude that he hit.
Right,
The dude that he hit. And this is Gronk's logic. I hit him because I don't get my calls. So because you're mad at the referee and or the owner of the league or whatever.
I think it was just he saw red and that was the first thing he hit type idea. But
So
I'm
you
not
shot
saying
me
it's
because you're
acceptable.
mad at the boss.
Oh, it's not okay or acceptable.
We're co-workers, you shot me.
We agree.
That's your logic?
It's not okay or acceptable.
That's bullshit.
He should get suspended for more than one game. Look,
That's
Albert
bullshit.
Hainsworth.
That's a bullshit excuse, and you're a bitch for that.
Albert Hainsworth stepped on a man's head when that man's helmet fell off.
And got
with
what?
his cleat. He got 5 games.
Ezekiel Elliott allegedly did something that was not proven and got 6. This man's getting 1. Is it because of his shade? Because other than that, I don't know what he did.
I'm not gonna compare it to the Ezekiel Elliott thing, but I will compare it to the Albert.
Really?
I'll compare it to the Albert Hainsworth thing
But you won't compare it to the Zeke thing?
there's comparisons there, but I'm gonna.
There's no comparison there.
But I think
Zeke got 6 games for no evidence. This man
Right.
hit a man well after the whistle. 1, 2, gave him a
Yes.
concussion.
Yes.
He got what?
And I just said, as I said, that's assault. That is assault. Anywhere else, that is assault. So you should get him for more than just 1 game. I think you should get Weldon more than 1 game. Albert Hainsworth got 5 and got reduced down to 3. I think he should get at least 5. I think he should get at least 5.
Which, by the way, let's speak about bitch. Gronk, you're an even.
5, 4, 3, somewhere around there area. I think he should have got more than 1 for sure.
I would have gave him 3.
If they gave him 3, I would have been okay. I wouldn't have this conversation.
I would have given him 3.
I don't think we would need this conversation if they gave him at least 3.
minimum. 2 minimum.
You need to give him
I'd say
3.
2 minimum. I'd say 2 minimum, but I
Sure.
would have given him 3.
I would have given him 3.
I'd have been like, on 2, but 1, it's unacceptable to me.
They needed to come down and make a statement because that's showing that this is okay. What about the next guy that does that? 1 game for that?
1 game. 1 for that.
You're trying to do everything you can to take those hits out of the game during the
Right,
play
right.
when it's
You
when
wanna be
people
the-
are running as fast as possible, trying not to actually do that. This dude
You want to
literally
be the
tried to
safety
do
league?
that.
You want to be the safety
You gave him
league?
1 game?
And you know what's bullshit? That's what irritated me more about it. His bullshit, and this is what made him more of a bitch to me. His bullshit ass apology.
Yeah. It wasn't real.
Come on, like,
Obviously.
the whole situation is a joke. It is a joke. It's forever going to be a joke as far as I'm concerned. But the biggest thing overall, to sum this all up, this ignorant ass, and this is why he's even like, if you want to ignore everything else that we just said, this is why Gronk is a bitch in this situation. He's trying to appeal this.
Yeah, they denied the appeal.
I don't care.
He did try to appeal.
What are you appealing?
I don't know.
You hit the man late. You apologize for hitting the man late. You acknowledge that you were a fuck, and then you want to appeal it.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you appealing?
I think he was just trying to get the suspension taken away and make it down to a fine. I don't know, but it didn't work. He's still getting the suspension.
Look, we like Gronk. He's a good
We do.
football player. We wanted to go on his career.
He's kind of fun off the field sometimes, but this is not okay. That play is not okay.
He's a bitch for that. And the NFL, as far as I'm concerned, went soft on him.
Yes, they did. They went
Considering how much they hate the Patriots, they went soft on Gronk, as far as I'm concerned. He deserved more. And I like Gronk. Like I said, he's a great football player.
Tom Brady got 4 games for taking air out of footballs.
Case number 1. Case number 2, even though you don't want to go there, I'm not going to, but
Zeke
got 6'4" or something that exists or doesn't exist or whatever.
Albert Hainsworth got 5 for doing something just around as egregious.
This man hit a man well after the whistle. If this was Ndamukong Suh...
Ndamukong Suh got 4 for doing something on Thanksgiving Day.
After the whistle.
Yeah, he got 4 for that. He got 4
Actually,
for that.
That was probably during the whistle. Like right before.
I forget. But either way, yeah.
Like close. It was close.
He got 4 for that.
Right. I'm just saying.
So we have 4 examples here. Not adding up.
I don't like it. We don't like it.
Pittsburgh, Cincinnati had a lot of physical back and forth, and Juju got suspended a game for a block on Vontaze Burfict. I think a lot of people probably were okay with that block on Burfict, honestly, because a lot of people don't like Burfict. But Juju standing over him, I get why he did it, because he was the new man on the block. And all his boys kind of been getting clowned by Burfict the last couple years, and Burfict hurt AB really bad last year. And so they kind of wanted to kind of send a message to Burfict. But I just taunting a guy who was laying down hurt, not the best look.
Not okay. No,
he's going to get suspended a game. Okay. He should get suspended a game. They took another cheap shot on Brown, though. But all of that said, because people, from everything I've seen, been talking about that game, just been talking about how ridiculous and out of control it got violent-wise and whatever.
I didn't watch it for the record, but...
That's all you've heard. Okay, but have you heard anything about Bell?
No.
Bell had over, I think it was 86 yards rushing, and I think he had over 70-some yards receiving and a touchdown for each. Like, he had an electrifying game.
Sounds good.
He had an incredible run, and it's not even being talked about. His entire game isn't being talked about. I wanted to bring that up and point that out. It was incredible. It was fun to watch. Pittsburgh won the game late, but I think it should just be pointed out how good he was in that game particularly. He's been really good lately in the season. They're on a roll. Pittsburgh is rolling. New England is rolling. So the AFC, with Kansas City moving backwards, even though, okay, look, and people need to stop Alex Smith. They're calling for Alex Smith's head. Alex Smith just threw for 440 and 4 touchdowns. In a loss. It's not his fault.
His
defense gave up 42 points to the Jets.
Are those punk ass Chiefs fans just like
Jets
punk ass Eagles fans? Is that what it is?
Oh my, the Eagles fans that are on Carson Wentz and
Carson
Wentz had 284 yards in the game.
That was the point. Are they punk ass Chiefs fans ever saying that?
There's a lot, yes. There's so many Chiefs fans saying that.
Punk ass Chiefs fans, which they need to be quiet.
400 plus yards and 4 touchdowns. I think he had 380. I'm sorry, 380 and 4 touchdowns. They want to bench him.
Look at Andy Reid. Look at the defense. Look at the defensive coordinator.
Look at what defense.
Don't look at Alex Smith. Alex Smith balled out. He did what he was supposed to do. He would be.
A couple games before that, were they sloppy, a little sloppy, but he still only has 2 interceptions on the entire year. He's third in touchdowns.
I was going to say, would he not be a top 5?
He's still like the 5th best. He's still like the 4th candidate for MVP.
I was going to say, would he not be? I was trying to think, would he be 3 to 5? I would say, would he not be a top 5
candidate?
You have to say he's top 5
candidate.
Yeah,
for MVP.
Right.
Yeah, I think he'd be at least 5th at minimum.
Would he? That's kind of in mid thought. That's why I was like, would he be top 3 or would he be more so top 3 to 5?
I think you would go in
3 to 4
in no order. You
top
would go
4
in no order. You would definitely say Brady, Wentz, Wilson, him.
Okay, so it's interchangeable. The first 1 or 2 maybe, but okay, so top 5. We can agree to top 5 Alex Smith. Okay.
Yes.
That's the bigger point. So. Chiefs fans, I'm gonna need.
But his team,
I don't know any Chiefs fans, but
his team is still 6-6.
Not his fault.
Not his fault.
That's not his fault. You can look at Andy Reid or the defense for that matter, because it's been a defense. It's been a collapse, which Is it not because they lost safety? I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Eric
Berry.
Eric Berry. Is
Yeah.
that not the reason?
Yes.
They got past it for like a week or
A couple
2.
weeks, but yeah.
Is that not coming back to haunt them now?
Yeah, right now, yes, they're absolutely giving up a ton of points defensively.
So I mean, I just need Chiefs fans to relax a little bit. Relax. Alex Smith is not the reason.
You alluded to the Eagles. I said before, and we didn't get to talk about it on the show last week, but I said it before last week. If they win one of the 2 games out west, one either Seattle or LA, I'll be happy with it. Come back 11-3, and that'll be just fine. I'd like to see 2 wins, obviously, but that's hard to do. Seattle, really good at home, but been struggling. They lost 2 already at home. That you didn't see that coming. Russell Wilson's been playing out of his mind. In that game particularly, he played out of his mind. I mean, he was just sneaky good. Like, they couldn't tackle him. They couldn't tackle him. He had an incredible game. He had an impressive game. The refs sucked overall, not just for the Eagles, for the Seahawks as well. It probably affected the Eagles more, I'll definitely say that. It was very frustrating, but it was frustrating just overall. These refs need to step their game up in general. Carson... The interception was just him trying to do too much. The fumble was just him trying to do too much.
It happens.
Because they were down and he was literally just trying to scrape everything together. But...
So you looking to bet him?
Huh? Yeah. Well, apparently, like, that's the thing. And then, and you alluded to
Are you
it.
going to Alex Smith him?
How funny is Eagles Twitter just absolutely freaking out like it was the worst.
I don't mess with you Eagles fans outside of you.
This is a different Eagles team as well.
I don't deal with you Eagles fans because you jabronis act just like these Chiefs fans act with Eric Smith, except 10 times worse.
There's been one team that went undefeated in the history of the Super Bowl era, so like I'm not really super concerned about if they lose a game, especially on the road to Russell Wilson in Seattle on a Sunday night where that place is absolutely rocking in a basically must-win game for Seattle to keep their hopes alive for a wild card spot. Yeah, I mean that's a tough spot to play in. And Carson Wentz had a good overall game. Look, he had some bad passes for sure. The defense had some moments where they looked pretty bad, but overall I thought they did pretty well. And Russell Wilson was just extra good.
Glorious.
Which he has been all year.
Did you pick Philly before a game or not?
Yes, I picked Philly. And they lost.
That's fine.
Of
course you did. I picked Seattle, actually.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people actually picked Seattle. Dan Patrick picked Seattle. Because
logical people outside of Philadelphia.
A lot of people felt like obviously it's hard to see Seattle drop another one at home in that situation.
So why did you pick Philly? I'm just curious.
Because they were rolling, but I knew the streak was going to have to end at some point. That's
basically why I picked Seattle. Because
the streak has to end at some point, obviously, yeah. But
I figure in Seattle would have been an opportune time.
Just because, yeah, right, and I understand that as well. And I was definitely not shocked at all. In no way, shape, or form watching the entire game was I frustrated or shocked. It was, look, at times I was like, oh, man.
I mean, a lot of you dumbass Eagles fans, like you keep saying, we're very shocked.
Obviously, I was frustrated in the sense of like, oh, man, they could complete that play, or oh, man, it looked like they could have done something better.
Right.
But, like, I wasn't frustrated in the sense of, like, the season's over and, oh, they don't look that good. Well, like, no, it was, you're going to have games. I'm not going to base the whole entire season off of one game. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for them dominating every team they played before this, and I'm not going to do that for them losing a game and not. They didn't get blown out of the water. It's fine. I'm not going to base everything off of one game. I would like I said before, I would like to see them win at least one of these 2 games on the West Coast, and we'll go from there.
Yippee-doo.
If they don't, yeah, I'm probably going to be a little worried. If they go back to Philadelphia, if they left Philadelphia with 2 losses and come back with 4 losses, yeah, I'm going to be definitely a little worried going into the playoffs, and we'll definitely have our conversation there. But I wasn't... They're still young. Carson's still in his second year. Seattle's front 7 came to play. The Eagles' offensive line, I thought, did fairly well against them, but they still got their pressure in, and it was enough. They did what they had to do.
Are you done deflecting? Okay, because I know you saw the meme that's been going around, which is accurate. The Eagles haven't beaten anybody this year.
With a winning record, yes.
So,
what
does that say?
Their average margin of win has been by double digits. So, by all of those bad teams that they've been playing,
So they did what they were supposed to do.
Yes, and
Congratulations. Does that make them great though?
I think it makes them one of the better teams in the NFL. They aren't losing to teams that they still have 10 wins in the NFL. Like no matter what, they still played 10 NFL teams and beat them.
Okay, you're going sense of Philly fan. Relax, calm down, time out. I only brought that up to see what your reaction was going to be. My argument was, and I'm gonna preface this before you lose your mind. Last year I said the same thing about the Cowboys. You are supposed to beat who is in front of you. If you are as good as you think or claim that you are, as your record is, then you should beat garbage, mediocre teams, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But then when competition really sets in, and if you don't step up, that really speaks of who you actually are.
I was actually going to allude more to, before you said that, I was going to allude more to, and not just for Dallas last year overall, but Dallas last year would fall into this. It's not about who's hot early, it's about who's hot late, and the Eagles were hot early, so that doesn't always fall well for you going in late. But as I said before...
So where does that leave Philly move forward?
But sometimes it's about the overall dominant season. I've also seen Eagles teams, that Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl was 12-4, and... They had ups and downs in those 4 losses. You know what I'm saying? That happens.
I would take that 12-4 Eagles team over this team. You're asking me. Which is why I will tell you, as your Eagles fandom will show, don't live in this moment. Relax and calm down. Step back for a second. You guys are good. I will, before you lose your mind.
I wasn't going to lose my mind.
No, because you're going to. You guys look good, and I've been saying you guys look good. You guys are good, and you're going to be a competitor. But how good are you in reality?
I'm not sure about this year particular Eagles team. The thing I will say
wouldn't know either when it's December and we're in the middle of question marks and you're being questioned and you just come off a loss. Of course you don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
of course you don't.
They only have 2 losses. It's not the end of the world. I was actually just going to say the bigger thing is, as I said before, I will be absolutely worried if they come back to Philadelphia and they lost in Seattle and LA, because that would definitely be, that means they're going to have to go on the road.
So what if they lose
playoffs.
to LA?
Yeah, then you have to start to question, all right, well, if they make, because obviously they're going to make the playoffs then because of how far away they are from the rest of the division. So the point being is then, okay, you would have to, the Eagles would have to win 3 games to get to the Super Bowl instead of 2. They wouldn't have more than 1 home game. And 2, they haven't proven that they can beat anybody of a substantial record before that. So, yeah, obviously that would turn into something worrisome.
To this point, but fair enough.
But there's still a season left for them to do that. Until they can't do that anymore, I'm
4
absolutely...
games. All 4 games.
Well, no, only 1 game. This game this week. The next couple games, other than the Dallas game, and who knows where the Eagles are going to stand during that game, they might not be out there playing their hardest, but they might be as well. They might have something to play for. But my point being is right now, the LA game is the only one they have to prove anything, and I guess that's where they're going to do it. But my bigger concern isn't this year. I'd like to see them do very well this year, continue to sustain what they were doing going into the bye week, and as we said, after the bye week was going to be their hardest part of their schedule. But Carson Wentz, the way he has just looked overall, it is something to be excited for the rest of the season and beyond, if they can hopefully continue to sustain around him. So I'm actually more on the side of they can just use every game they personally can. The first game he plays, whether it's the first week or if it's the second week in the playoffs. But I'm saying if they get a bye week in the playoffs, or if they get a wild card, or if they're playing the wild card week in the playoffs, it's gonna be his first game in the playoffs either way, and that's a whole different element, anyways. So we'll see when we get there.
You know what that whole statement you just made means nothing to me, because of course you are gonna be that optimistic guy right now. It's so easy to be that guy when there's no expectations of reality.
Right. But I said the same thing about Dak last year. I didn't know if they were going to win against Green Bay or not. But either way, I thought it was a good thing that he was able to get experience under his belt in a playoff game and actually played fairly well. Almost won them that game. Not his fault they lost for sure. He's going to be nothing but comfortable in those moments, and that's what you want to at least see. Now it's about building the rest of the team in Dallas around him, and that's what I'm looking for the Eagles. I want to make sure that Carson's going to be comfortable in those moments, and hopefully even maybe this is the team, maybe this isn't, but hopefully they can build the right team around him.
This is JD Sports. Cut the bullshit.
Yeah.
Did the Eagles make the Super Bowl?
This year? I think with how open
Yes
the
or
game.
no?
No.
No? Okay. That's all I need to know. I don't need a detailed, ridiculous explanation. I just want a yes or no.
But do I want them to? Of course.
No.
Obviously.
I'm just saying.
No, I don't think they make
No?
the Super Bowl. No.
Okay.
And even
And you know what? And if you would have asked me the same thing 365 ago, I'd have said no. The Cowboys would not make the Super Bowl.
right.
And I was confident they would make the NFC Championship. I thought we were going to lose it to the Packers. I believe it was my prediction. But okay, I'm just curious.
Speaking of those Packers,
I was curious.
Aaron Rodgers is only going to miss one more week and apparently come back if they win this week.
And you know what that means?
They'll lose.
Well, that's potentially, but that's not where I was going.
What?
Aaron Rodgers is looking at that trash ass NFC,
Thinking
and saying,
he has a
you
shot.
know what?
Absolutely agreed.
40% of me is better than this entire.
How
NFC.
wide open it is. Yes, I agree.
That's not a good thing. That is not a good thing.
The Packers are also rolling. The Packers just won.
Time out. You can't use the term rolling in one victory in the same thought. I'm gonna need you to knock that off.
They gave
I'm gonna need you to
him-
stop. It's Aaron Rodgers more so saying, "This is my competition." I'm looking at the NFC. Let me see. Drew Brees, the Vikings, Falcons. I don't know. Panthers.
Falcons,
I don't know.
I don't know what the Panthers are either. Yeah,
Tampa.
they just beat Tampa
suck.
without Aaron Rodgers.
Buffalo's. Man, the NFC. You know what? Damn this injury. I can come back and win right now.
Buffalo's in the AFC, but
I could be 100% by the Super Bowl. I feel like that's what Aaron Rodgers
Yes.
is doing right
I
now.
agree.
He's looking at the NFC and saying, you know what?
I agree.
I can work with this.
I agree.
My hardest game might be the first one in the playoffs, Minnesota or New Orleans.
Right.
Other than that, I can compete with this. I don't necessarily blame him.
Look, if he can run a little bit, he'll have a good shot against the Eagles defense.
Easily.
It's about
Yeah,
being mobile
easily.
with the Eagles defense. If you
Right,
if you
right.
can be mobile, because if you have to stand in the pocket, if he has to stand in the pocket, he's not going to be able to move. Then, but his legs aren't injured; it's his shoulders that is injured. So that's going to be.
I was gonna say he's not a mobile guy.
That's what I'm
he
saying.
can figure it
But
out.
no, he's able to
He
get
can figure
around
it
in the
out.
pocket. I'm not
He can figure
mobile.
it
I
out.
meant in the sense of is he able to get lateral, left or right, up and down in that pocket? And he's able
Right,
to do
right,
that.
right.
And that's what you need to do to beat the Eagles defense right now. So
Right.
he's
I
looking
think
at
he
it
can do
as
that. It's in-
he could beat Minnesota, he could beat LA, he thinks he could probably beat New Orleans.
Wow.
He's Aaron
Damn,
Rodgers. You
I
always
mean-
have a shot.
Do you take the field versus that though? Because after
Yes.
you just named all that, I was about that until you listed all the teams. I might take a team. I won't say which team.
I'm not saying Minnesota
I might
is...
take one. You just said, okay, so Philly, Minnesota, New Orleans. Who was the other one?
Maybe Seattle, maybe LA.
LA was the other one. Seattle.
Seattle would have to go on the road though.
I might
Seattle's
take
not
the
a good road
field.
team.
I'd take the field. I'd take the field. Overall, I would take the field.
Minnesota-
But if I'm Aaron Rodgers and if I'm as great as he is, and I'm him, I'm
Look,
thinking I could take that.
As I've
Definitely.
said before,
Easily.
no team has ever hosted the Super Bowl and then been in the Super Bowl. No city's ever hosted the Super Bowl and had their team in the Super Bowl, but Minnesota is the only team at this stage in the history of the NFL to be a top 5 offense and a top 5 defense right now. So, first for everything's maybe all around. We'll see. Do you have anything else to talk about with the NFL?
No.
Me neither. I think we covered everything.
Well, the past 2 weeks, yeah.
Quickly with the NBA, the Cavs have been rolling.
It's been a lot of NBA.
The Celtics, even though the streak ended, they still have been absolutely very, very good. The Warriors have looked a little human, but more just fighting with everybody. They're still winning a lot of games. It's early. The bigger thing I want to talk about
You can't hear my shrug right now. Like,
before we,
there's such a hard shrug right now.
If
Like,
you really
it
want to
means
get
absolutely nothing. Man.
if you really want to get into any of that, we can. But I don't really want
No,
to.
I
Okay.
don't. I
The
don't.
thing, and we can do it very fast because there's one other basketball topic I want to talk about. Memphis fired their coach, Fizdale,
Yep.
because they lost 10 straight. They lost in the first round last year.
Okay.
look, they overpaid their point guard, who was a very good point guard. I love Mike Conley, but he was the highest paid player in the league for 2 years in a row.
Overpaid the point guard, even though he was.
Is Mike Conley? Does he deserve the highest paid contract in the league?
In the league, incorrect. No.
Okay, he had the highest paid contract in the league for 2 years, and that hampered them. Okay. Last year was one of those years. That was Fizdale's first year with them. He got them to the playoffs.
Okay.
They lost in the first round, yes.
Okay.
You have the Spurs and Golden State to compete with. He lost to the Spurs in the first round.
Right.
10 straight losses, got fired. Now the reports are he got fired because Gasol, the best player on their team, Marc Gasol, apparently was not getting along with him and did not like him and went to management a couple times about this. And as LeBron has before and many other superstars, got the coach ran out of town because they did not want them there. It's a superstar league. It happens.
Okay.
But this situation, I do not like because Gasol is not good enough superstar for me to run my coach out, who is clearly, by the reaction of all of the NBA players, current, former, broadcasters, Fizdale is highly respected. He has obviously done a lot for your franchise, which you haven't done anything for your franchise to make them competitive with San Antonio and Golden State. You made them better than most of the West, which is still hard to do, but you have not made them San Antonio or Golden State.
But, I mean, you're championship or bust. So, I mean, are you really backing him? Mr. Championship or bust?
For 1 year, how is it his fault?
Because it's championship or bust.
It's 1 year. You got to. If you pull somebody in there, you have to give them more.
But you've been saying he's been good for how many years? So it's championship or bust. So I mean, is it?
It's 1 year. That's not fair to him just because the player doesn't like him.
Now it's not fair to him. Okay. Number two, as far as this organization is concerned, if Mark, I mean, I don't know the story. I haven't looked into it. I know that this coach has gotten fired. I don't know the reason, but I know this quote unquote backlash from all these other players.
It was because Gasol wanted him to be gone.
From LeBron and Wade and all these.
I point out the LeBron thing because LeBron has done that before, and then he ended up tweeting about it. It's kind of ridiculous.
Which shut LeBron. And my thing is, if Mark, okay. So, I don't give it... I mean, Marc Gasol is a good player, but I don't give a shit about Marc Gasol. But if Marc Gasol has that much pull, then why is Marc Gasol not making Mike Conley money?
I don't know.
Okay, so I don't necessarily buy that. I'm just saying.
All right, well, either way, would have you fired him?
No, because what's left?
Right, that's another thing. In the middle of the season like this, I feel like that doesn't seem like a good idea either. Anyways, I just thought it was dumb.
I don't necessarily believe the Marc Gasol thing. I just don't.
Last basketball thing I want to talk about.
What's that?
LaMelo Ball. Or is it LiAngelo? LiAngelo's the middle one. LiAngelo Ball.
Doesn't even know this man's name.
I don't know. The one who got arrested in China.
The irrelevant one.
The middle one.
The irrelevant one. That's... you get it? Because none of them were relevant. None of them.
His father decided to take him out of UCLA. It sounds like the youngest one won't go to UCLA either. He's going to have them go play in Europe.
I hate LeVar Ball.
I think this is actually a good idea on his part because it's the only way to get those two money because neither of them are as good as Lonzo. Lonzo's the only one with NBA talent who's going to be able to play in the NBA. The other two do not have NBA talent. The other two need to make money and they need to make it fast. The only way they have a name they are the Kardashians, but look, they're living in a white-hot space and he needs to get them in that white-hot space now before that white-hot space dies.
You talk so fast. I need you to calm down for half a second. Because you just said 1,000 words in a minute. Okay, that was part of this timeout. Shh. Shh. Number one. Number two. Really?
Yes. You got to make the money now.
I'm
they're not going to make the NBA. So the only way they can make money is if they go to Europe and play.
How fucking ridiculous. I don't even know where to begin because you went 1,000 different ways with that whole situation. What ball kid is this? Name
the
one.
Middle one.
Name one.
LiAngelo.
You're that punk. You're the punk that robbed in China?
Yeah.
How old are you?
He was 19.
You're 19? 18, 19, 20? 18, 19, 20?
18. 18 or 19. His brother's 20. His oldest brother's 20.
I'm sorry. In the United States, how old are you
Also,
consider? How old are
18.
You're. I didn't even say what I was going to say. Can I say what I? How do you consider an adult in the United
18.
States? 18. Why is Daddy still speaking for you?
I don't know. I agree with that.
Number one.
Because his daddy can make the money for him right now.
Knock it off. He made so much money that his son decided to rob China. Broke ball brand.
I think his son was just trying to be cool to his homies.
Broke ball brand. Your LeVar Ball. Damn these kids, because they're kids. Damn these kids.
Yeah.
Damn these. Put the kids over here. Put them to the side because they're kids and they're going off their father, which is the bigger issue. We want you. We're not. Damn these kids.
But if he makes the money,
no, stop.
Makes some more money than I'm ever gonna make in my lifetime, I'm really not gonna be mad about that.
I'll let you knock it off.
How can I be upset about that? Look, if they all end up with multi-million dollars.
Stop. One, damn these kids, because the kids are kids. Kids gonna be kids. LeVar, what the fuck are you doing with these kids, man?
He's trying to make them money now. The only way they can make money is if they do it now while they're still hot, while they're still living in the white hot space.
Absolutely 1,000% ridiculous.
I'm not.
You got one kid that you pushed. Yeah, wipe your nose. You got one kid that you overhyped and played out to the Lakers, which is turning out to be a bust. Up to this point, granted, you have like how many years, whatever. But until then, he's a bust. Now, then you got the second kid who is robbing China, and you're pulling him out of the major college.
And the third kid can't play defense. But the thing is he wasn't going to let him play more than 1 year of college anyways, which is ridiculous because he would be better off playing 2, 3, 4 years of college, getting a degree, and having a better lifestyle that way. I don't disagree. But if you have a chance to make
where the hell is the money coming from, bro?
$1 million contract in China?
From who?
Somebody will do that in China.
Somebody
Allen Iverson was 45. Yo, Stephon Marbury is 56 years old playing basketball in China right now.
You're speaking ridiculous right now.
He's 56 years old. He literally is getting $100 million contract.
Stephon Marbury didn't rob the entire country. So what are you talking about?
He can go play in Europe though. Like there's still other leagues in Europe. China's not the only league.
He's not a good basketball player. But he's not good enough to go there. And he
is good enough to go. He's more for a Europe game anyways. He shoots as a big man from the corner like Dirk.
So
he's poor man's Dirk, and that's what you do over in Europe. Dirk was too good for Europe. So if you're not as good as Dirk, but you play the same style as Dirk, go over to Europe. That's what he does. The way to make $1 million right now for that kid is go while his name is hot. Go have him go sign a contract right now. And when the other one turns 18 a year and a half from now, have him sign a contract the next day while his name is still hot. If his name is still hot, because you're going to be scared it's not. So make the money while these kids can now. Why waste a year in college, right? Though, especially if he might not go to the NBA. What if he's not going to be able to go to the NBA anyways?
Well, then you're not as good as you claimed you were.
So make the money in Europe today while you still can.
Okay, first of all,
what if it's a fraud to white? What if it's all a scam with these last two kids?
No, that's not the hype that's been going on.
But
the hype is that because the hype has been they're better than Lonzo.
I haven't heard that anywhere. Lonzo has every single analyst and every single basketball recruiter I've ever.
Fuck them. LeVar has been stating these dudes.
LeVar said he could beat Michael Jordan in basketball, and you didn't believe him, but you're going to believe him on what he said about his kids can do? I don't think so. LeVar Ball said that his kid could beat Steph Curry in a three-point shooting contest, and you're going to believe him when he's saying about his two other kids?
You're not listening at all. You're not listening, man.
You just said the recruiters and everybody who know what they're talking about, don't listen to them, listen to LeVar.
You're not listening.
Okay, then we're finished it then.
I would love to. Are you done talking?
Yeah.
Okay. You're an 18-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
Your father is telling you as an 18-year-old kid, who you are a UCLA star or a player. You're on a
suspended indefinitely though, so you don't even know if they're bringing the kid back. He basically pulled a Trump where it was like if you're gonna
listen to me, or you gonna keep talking. He's gonna pull you out of the UCLA, and he's saying, maybe you're going to another college team in the NCAA. Maybe. I'm not mad at NCAA. I'm mad at this college team right now who is suspending you. The NCAA didn't suspend you. The college team suspended you.
No, he's taking him to Europe. He didn't. He's
Whatever.
not taking him to another NCAA team. He's not mad at the college. He didn't say anything bad about UCLA. He said UCLA won't prepare him the way I will for the NBA. But he said my kid.
Listen to me, or you
He said
want
my
me
kid
to-
put us in a bad
want me to
position.
go? You want me to go?
All right, keep going.
So, as a jabroni just robbed China over some dumb shit because you're a big baller and you're some punk ass kid who also dropped N-bombs on national television on WWE, but that's beside the point. You're a jabroni who thinks you're entitled to shit because you don't know no better. Now you're being told by the same father who is actually kind of being exposed now, and people are slightly taking the microphone away from him. He's now saying, you know what, he'll go somewhere else. Are you honestly banking on that? Do you, like, if you want to be, listen to me when I say this. You're the kid, and I'm your father. I'm saying you can go be a star in another country, and then, let's say, pick a number, 3 years from now, you're going to make it in the NBA. The NBA is going to want you. Do you really think that's going to be the case? Because I don't.
I don't think he's an NBA player if he plays at UCLA, and I think that's the bigger picture here, and I think LeVar sees that. I think LeVar's smarter than we're giving him credit for, and I think LeVar is going to keep playing the scam to get $1 million contract. But he's getting money after money. I think LeVar understands that his kid is not good enough to play in the NBA. So how do you do it right now? He's going to get $1 million contract somewhere in Europe.
You keep saying that you think that he doesn't think his son's good enough.
I know his son's not good enough. As of right now, his son wouldn't even get drafted. At the end of this year, they said that his son would not get drafted to the NBA this year.
You clearly don't listen to what LeVar says about all of his sons. And according to all of his sons, they're on a Mount Rushmore. All of them. Him and all three of them.
But they're not. Lonzo's the best, and the other two are, the other one can play a
according
little
to
big
LeVar,
and is good defense, the other one can't play it. Again, but LeVar thinks he could beat Michael Jordan one-on-one. I'm not worried about what LeVar says. But you just said that LeVar thinks that they are going to be great and they should go to another I don't
country.
think so. I think that LeVar knows he can make them money right now by getting them a contract by playing basketball. I don't know if LeVar thinks that
who's giving them
somebody is going to give that kid a contract. LeVar would not have pulled them unless he knew that. He's going to get money for something.
I disagree. I think LeVar is just banking on. I think LeVar is banking on the fact that he thinks that he's a name. He thinks that okay, here's the real comment. He thinks his brand is is greater than basketball. He thinks his brand is equal to, if not on the same, almost playing field as the Jordan brand. He thinks his brand is that. And that's why he would make such a statement.
I think he just thinks that right now people are talking about the big baller brand, and the only way you can cash in is today, because tomorrow they might not be talking about it the way the cycle moves, and I think he understands that himself.
Does he though? Because
yes.
I feel like
he pulled his kid out of UCLA and you just gave all the reasons why he should have never done that, and I agree with you. But the reason he did that is because he understands that tomorrow the big baller brand might not be in the news anymore.
You know what? I feel like the big ball brand is kind of falling off. And I think the catalyst has been
very possible.
Lonzo.
Yeah.
I think Lonzo's kind of made it.
Whether Lonzo's the best out of all three of them, and he's not going to end up being...
regardless of who's the best or who isn't, I think Lonzo in general has made that brand in general kind of take steps back and made people look at this family and this brand slightly differently. I don't think it's a good call.
Which I think it's crazy because Lonzo isn't anything more than or less than what people were saying he was going to be out of college anyways, except for what LeVar Ball said. But again, LeVar Ball said he could beat Michael Jordan in basketball. So why did people believe him when he said that Steph Curry isn't as good as a basketball player as his son? We shouldn't base our expectations on him because of the things his father was saying. We should base our expectations on the things that were said of him coming out of college, and the things like Skip Bayless and the things like Jalen Rose and the people who talk NBA and basketball for a living were saying he was going to be about what he is. They were saying Steph Curry was going to be about what Steph Curry was at that. Look, Steph Curry had worse numbers shooting wise at this point in his career than Lonzo Ball did. And Steph Curry is the greatest shooter of all time in my eyes. So This A means nothing if they call him a bust, but B, on the sense of like nobody outside of LeVar Ball himself said any of these great things about any of these people, and LeVar Ball has not said anything intelligent basketball wise the entire time. All he has done is just cash in, and I am impressed by his marketing skills and the way he does all that, and how he's going to cash in for his sons this way. This is their best chance to get paid to play basketball, because I don't look. I'll be honest with you, Dwight, and a lot of people agree with this. I don't think either of them are NBA caliber. I don't. Lonzo's the only NBA caliber out of the three of them.
And Lonzo was also the only one that you could market towards that.
Yes.
Because of the fact, because he was the first one. Let's say they both are absolute garbage and they're the worst two players of all time.
Yeah,
one
right.
and two.
Right.
You know, Lonzo works because he's the first one.
Right. And he was good. He got the other two a scholarship to UCLA before they were even out of high school, right, though? Right? You feel me? Off of what you're saying.
Right, fine.
Yes?
Fine. Alonzo's the first one. But because Alonzo kind of failed up until this point, he's failed. And then, okay, who's next in line? Now this kid
he got arrested in China. That was on his
doing
own.
dumb right. But I'm saying he's doing dumb shit and he's not as good.
And the youngest is a bigger airhead than the other two.
Okay, this is my overall point, is that the trickle effect is more so the brand diminishes with each generation, with each kid, which is why
But they already made their multi-million-dollars, so they're LeVar has already made a scheme. Now he's just trying to keep the money coming as long as he can, but he already has made the bulk of his money, and he knows that off the big baller brand.
So now you got three busts. One made an NBA team, one's in Europe, and another one doesn't make any league.
Well, I think the third one will go to Europe as well because he can shoot, but he can't play any defense.
Are we done with this ball situation?
Yes, we're done with the entire ball situation.
The entire joke situation?
I would like to move on to the NCAA.
Actual sports? Like a real conversation?
Quickly, I want to do the NCAA football before we get into picks. The Final Four has been set. The night before the Final Four was set, the big argument was who was it going to be, about Alabama or Ohio State for the fourth team. Ohio State was ranked 8th last week. Ohio State was ranked 5th. Ohio State was ranked 8th last week and Alabama was ranked 5th. So I looked at it as, unless Ohio State beat Wisconsin by like 25 to 30 points, it was going to be very hard for them to jump the whole way up to Alabama and then over Alabama as well. Especially if Auburn lost to Georgia. Auburn lost to Georgia, so it opened up the spot in the fourth opening spot. Alabama moves into it. Ohio State ends up 5th. Wisconsin 6th. Auburn 7th. I don't agree with that. Doesn't really matter how it happens after the four. I think the committee got the 4 best teams in right for the second year in a row, because last year the Big Ten champion was Penn State, but they put in Ohio State over Penn State, and basically because Penn State's losses were just really bad in comparison to Ohio State's one loss, which was to Penn State. This year, Ohio State's losses are really bad in comparison to Alabama's one loss. Alabama didn't have any bigger wins than Ohio State. I will absolutely admit that. But Alabama only had 1 loss. Ohio State had 2 losses. Ohio State's 1 loss was 15-plus points at home to a team already in the Final Four, and Ohio State lost by 31 to Iowa on the road, which Iowa didn't beat another team by more than 15 points all season.
Are you doing the logistics? Are you putting Ohio State in or no?
No, Alabama, absolutely.
Okay.
I tweeted it the night before at JD Sports.
Okay. Get to the meat of it. So
why? Because you have to take the 4 best teams. The whole reason we have this committee of humans to do this is because you want the 4 best teams. And I do have the.
Stress the term.
These are the 4 best teams, though. These are the 4 best teams. But it's an exact science. There is no Auburn.
I keep hearing arguments though. Why is there
for Ohio State? There shouldn't be an argument for, because you know why? Because
no. Give your reason, and I'll give my reason.
The NFL, there is 2 conferences. In the NCAA, there is 5 conferences, and only 4 teams can get in. So you have 2 teams from one conference get in, which they deserve to. It basically cuts out 3 other conferences, and all 3 of those conferences are not happy about that because this thing is run by 5 different conferences. What they need to do is make it an 8-team thing. 5 conferences get automatic bids, and then 3 at-large bids. That's the only way you fix that.
I don't disagree. I was going to say my reasoning is there's never going to be an actual agreement. Like,
if we go to 8, the 9th team is still going to be upset. The 10th team is still going to be upset.
That's my thing, is that before this playoff system was implemented, there was so many arguments, and now we have 4 options, and then we argue that.
Can I put it to you this way?
Let's add 4 more. We're gonna keep.
There's 64.
There's gonna keep. I get that.
There's 64. Hold on, no. There's 64 teams that make the NCAA tournament in basketball, and they still argue about the 65th and 66th team. So it doesn't matter how many teams we start to let in this thing. There's always going to be an argument for the next 5 teams to get in. My point is if you go to 8, it's a better way to determine the winner. Because here's my thing.
And then when we get to 8, it's going to be, why ain't it 10? Why ain't it 16?
Well, I have a plan for 16, but they'll never go higher than 8. And I'm okay if they never go higher than 8. Let's go with 8 and stay at 8. I'm fine with that.
There's always going to be the argument,
there's always going to be the argument. There's an argument to make. You could always argue for it to be bigger. You could make it literally a 25-team thing.
And you know what? That's one of the reasons why I don't like college in general.
No, that's what makes it so fun for me, is how wide open this is. It's not fun.
It's nothing but argument. It's nothing but a ridiculous
I think the committee
win of an argument.
But see, here's the thing: 2 years in a row,
committee, and that's all it ever is. What the committee got
but
wrong.
Before I don't think they got anything wrong. The last 2 years, I think they absolutely got it.
You're the only one.
No, I'm not. All the football fans, all the college football fans who watch it. No, Ryan Russillo
every single year. I don't care what Ryan Russillo says. Every single year, I hear way too many people say they got it wrong. They should have put this team. It's a constant thing.
Well, we could sit them down and have a conversation with them about it, because I'm not following.
And that's what's
the 4 best teams are ridiculous. In it. Do you want the 4 best teams or not to be in the playoff?
I want the NFL system, which is I want what is the top, and then have
but if the NFL system. Record, if the NFL system was, all they did was take the 4 best teams, or the 4 teams, all they did was take 4 teams, would you rather them go off of schematics, or would you rather them take the 4 best teams for the playoffs?
You mean schematics?
Schematics of just because...
You mean analytics?
Schematics on the sense of
I want the 4 best teams. Period. The end.
Okay, but right now,
the end.
Right now with the NFL, their system is, the way you get in is if you win your division but you have a better chance to win your division and still make a wild card. That's why I think you need to go to 8, because that problem right there gets fixed. It doesn't get fully fixed, and there's no way to ever fully fix it, but it gets more of an opportunity to fix it. What they really need to do is cut off the back 29 to 30 teams, make it a Power 5 conference thing, and stop with the whole... Because then if you cut it down from 128 teams to about 80 some teams, a lot of the meat gets chunked down. Then you're only down to actually about 40 teams who have a shot to win the championship, and there's 32 teams in the NFL with a shot to win the championship. It's the closest thing you can absolutely do to make it like that, and you cut it into 2 the way the NFL does. That's the best chance you have, is go to 40 and 40. But that's 30 years down the road. The only way we can do anything in the next 5 to 10 years is go to 8 teams, and I think they will go to 8 teams. Anyways, I think they got the 4 best teams. I think they got the 4 best teams last year as well. And I would like to continue to see them. If they continue to get the 4 best teams, I'm not going to have an argument. I like this style. This is the best. This has been the best way they have come. I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I'm saying that. They got screwed out of it 2 years ago. This has been the best format there has possibly been to decide a college national championship yet, and I'm okay with that. I will take this format over what they were doing before every day of the week, and I will hope they expand it to 8 one day.
And you're the only person that says that. That's just the fact of it.
The people who got invited to the Heisman were Bryce Love, the running back for Stanford. I think he deserved it over Barkley, even though Barkley had a great season for Penn State. LeVar Jackson, who won the Heisman last year, had an even better season this year, but less wins as a team. And then the best player in college football right now is Baker Mayfield. He's going to win the Heisman by a mile. There's people saying out there that this is the best quarterback year they've ever seen. He's had an incredible year. I don't know if it's on the Cam Newton, Tim Tebow, even Case Keenum level of how incredible they were when they were playing, but Baker Mayfield has an opportunity here. Even Jameis Winston, you can throw his 1 year in there as well, but Baker Mayfield has a chance in these playoffs to show, just like Watson did, to the nation how actually good he is. Because I don't think that people really do. When I say he's in that class with those really good players, I don't know if he's better than them, but he's right there in that class of those best quarterbacks I've seen in college. So he's I'm very excited to see him versus the Georgia defense in their playoff game because it's going to be them versus Georgia in the Rose Bowl, and then out in Florida it's going to be the Alabama and Clemson rematch of the last two national championships, and the winner of both games go to the national championship. I'm picking Clemson to beat Alabama, though Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, and Alabama will be more fully healthy, and them and Ohio State are the best rosters when they are fully healthy. I've been going back and forth on Oklahoma and Georgia, and we have up until the New Year's Day to make the official pick, but I'm going to right now say I'm going to go with Oklahoma. I just think Baker Mayfield is going to be able to do what he can against that defense, but we'll see when we get there. It's going to be a fun bowl season. Notre Dame takes on LSU. I forget who Penn State plays, but I wanted to see Auburn and Wisconsin play, and I wanted to see Penn State then take on an SEC team because I think that Penn State their defense would be able to slow their offense down. I'd like to see Barkley versus an SEC defense. But I don't think it happened that way, and I'm mad that Auburn and Wisconsin aren't matched up against each other because I think those are the two best teams that didn't make the playoffs other than Ohio State. Or Ohio State and Auburn would have been fun as well. So anyways, didn't get any of those matchups, sadly. But it should still be a fun bowl year. It always is. The championship is... college football is my favorite. So the playoff games are very fun, especially New Year's Day this year. New Year's Eve is going to be a lot of NFL. Christmas Eve is going to be a lot of NFL this year.
A little bit.
Should be a fun time of football. The Army-Navy game of college football is being played this week. It's one of my favorite games every year. So if you have a chance to check that out, I think it's on CBS this weekend. Army-Navy. It's always just one of the best fun football, college football games of the year.
Who you got?
Army-Navy?
Right.
Navy.
Right.
Navy has...
It's rhetorical. It's so rhetorical.
Navy has a better rushing attack, but...
It's so rhetorical.
Army's had a pretty down year in comparative to most years for Army. More importantly, I'm picking Baker Mayfield to win the Heisman. Like I said, in a runaway over this weekend. Would you like to make our picks?
Let's do it.
How did you do last week, Dwight?
Last week I was 12-4. The week before I was 13-3.
I was 11-5 last week, and I was 13-3 the week before as well. I am 133-59.
128-64.
So we're still right there.
Wait, what are you? 133?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 133-59. So only a couple weeks left, but you're not too far out of it.
5 games is a lot.
Thursday night, Atlanta, if they win, can pull back in the division a little bit, but if Atlanta loses, they are done. They probably don't even have a shot at the playoffs. New Orleans could basically take control of the division with a win. Who you got?
I got the division winner, New Orleans Saints.
I got the Saints as well. They definitely they took a step ahead already last week by beating Carolina for a second time, so that was their toughest. So it's made it almost impossible for anybody to beat them. If they beat Atlanta this week, the division is over.
So who was the division?
New Orleans.
Okay.
Do you think Carolina makes a wild card?
Potentially. They could be first or second. Yeah. Yeah. I can see them being
I think
second.
it's Seattle and them, but it's going to be interesting.
There's the wild card game. The wild card game in the NFC is, for lack of a better term, wow. Like there's
it's open.
There's 3 or 4 different teams that you could pick in that situation. Yeah, they're in the conversation. Would I go with them?
A team.
No. That was my answer actually. No.
With Carolina? Okay.
Yeah, no.
We'll see. A team right outside of that's trying to get into it, maybe with a win this week, and then they'll get Aaron Rodgers back next week. They got to beat Cleveland this week first. Do you think Green Bay does it?
No.
They just beat Tampa Bay. I think they beat.
How many of these Green Bay fans to relax a little bit? I picked Green Bay because it's the Browns.
I'm picking Green Bay as well. I don't think the Browns are going to win this year, but the Browns' best chance is this, and then I think they play the Bears, and that's their 2 best chances the rest of the season.
Literally. I picked Green Bay this week, but overall,
it's in Cleveland. Brett Hundley on the road.
Green Bay, look for it next year.
Green Bay just beat Tampa Bay. We'll see. I got Green Bay winning.
Beat Tampa Bay. Congratulations.
Detroit, who just got absolutely stomped at home.
Detroit basketball. Did you yell that?
Oh, yes. When Andre Drummond fouled out, I absolutely, the entire time he was walking to the bench, I was yelling, Detroit basketball.
Did anybody respond?
Oh, like 2 dudes laughed behind me. They were kind of older.
I like it.
Nobody else really did. But the one guy kept clapping every time I yelled it, so I think he understood about it.
It's glorious.
It was fun.
That makes me happy. I picked Detroit basketball. Because Tampa Bay sucks. Jameis sucks.
I flipped a coin.
I picked Jameis.
It did. It landed on Tampa Bay. I think
Oh, knock
Fitzpatrick's-
it off. I flipped the coin. I just so happened to land on one of my trigger words. If you want to knock it off, alright.
Well, I think Fitzpatrick's playing anyway, so I wasn't
alright,
100% sure about it.
Alright, bruh.
I think Fitzpatrick's playing,
alright,
not Jameis.
You literally pulled that coin out your pocket, huh? You put it back, huh? You pulled out the fucking coin that had the Tampa Bay logo on one side, Tampa Bay logo on the other side. Got it. Alright, next.
I feel comfortable with it, actually, because Detroit just got stomped by a team they shouldn't have, Baltimore.
That team they shouldn't have. A team I also defend, Baltimore. Okay.
Baltimore doesn't have a good offense, I admit that. I like Joe Flacco, but their whole offense overall isn't all that great. Anyways, Oakland taking on Kansas City.
Garbage and more garbage.
I think Kansas City turns it around and Kansas City wins.
Oakland.
Kansas
They
City's
both
offense.
suck. They both
Yeah,
suck.
right.
They
Kansas
both
City's offense
suck.
just put a lot of points up. That's the only reason I'm going with that, really.
Kansas City's falling off the map completely. It makes no sense.
Speaking of a team that's fallen off the map completely, but it does make sense, is the Giants. I'm taking Dallas to beat them.
It's a trap game. I picked Dallas, but if you ask me a second time in the same show, I'll probably pick the Giants.
As long as the Giants are starting Eli or Geno Smith, I'm taking the other team.
That's why it's set up for the Giants to win, because Eli's going to be starting.
Chicago taking on Cincinnati. Cincinnati, a short week, pretty beat up, but Chicago's not that good. I'm taking Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Indianapolis taking on Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor sounds like he's going to play. Indianapolis hasn't had a good season. I'm taking Buffalo.
Buffalo.
San Francisco taking on Houston. Tom Savage has messed up every game he has played in so far for Houston.
Your favorite quarterback coach? The genius. It wasn't his guy.
I think
I
think he's even upset about this Tom Savage situation.
The quarterback
Garoppolo is 1-0 with the 49ers. He won 15-14. I'm taking Houston.
He's not a genius, though. Right? He's a genius. I go with the genius. I'm taking the Texans.
I'm going with the Texans because of their defense. Nothing to do with their offense.
I'm going with the genius coach. I don't know what you're talking about.
Minnesota taking on Carolina. I think Minnesota's defense, the way they're top 5 in a lot of categories, is going to really give Cam and that Carolina offense a hard time. And Minnesota's offense has been proven to be able to score, so I'm taking Minnesota in this one.
I picked Minnesota as well.
Washington.
Same reason.
Washington taking on the LA Chargers in LA. Kirk Cousins has been surprising, but the LA Chargers are the hottest team in the NFL currently. That's hard to say. Right?
For
They look
you.
good.
For
Yeah,
you.
they have good
For you.
defense. Philip
Only
Rivers
for
is
you.
playing some of the best of his career right now.
He's playing Phillip Rivers. I'm going with your San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers.
I got the Chargers to win this one as well. Tennessee
He's
taking
not as
on
bad as you think he is, huh?
Arizona.
Oh. What?
I got Tennessee beating Arizona.
Me too. Cardinals suck.
The Jets taking on Denver. Denver has been horrible this year. Went on to
Lost 8
Miami, got
straight.
absolutely
They
destroyed.
lost 8 straight, make it 9. I got the Jets.
They don't care at all. The Jets do care. The Jets have 5 more wins than a lot of people thought they would have this year. I think they're going for their 6th win this week, and I'm going with the Jets as
You know
well.
what's wild? I have, who's the Jets quarterback? Drawing a blank. White boy. Drawing a blank.
His brother's the backup on like every team ever.
Regardless, he's on my freaking...
Fantasy team is killing it.
Yeah. I picked him up off of free agency.
Yeah, he scored 30 points in 4 of the last
He's
5 weeks.
actually, and it's like the first time ever I've had a Jets quarterback on a fantasy team. I'm like,
He's killing it.
okay, yeah. I got that. Shouts to this white guy we can't name.
Seattle taking on Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense playing really well. The Magic Man, Russell Wilson has been incredible. I'm taking Jacksonville.
You're a bum for that. I thought you was going to take Seattle. I'll take Jacksonville.
Philadelphia taking on the Rams. Philadelphia's basically got to win this one to prove to everyone that they are of playoff caliber and can go into the playoffs and win a couple games, maybe. A lot of people agree with you, and they're taking the Rams. You're taking the Rams?
I took the Rams. They're top 5 in pass defense. That's the only thing Philly can do. I'm going with them.
Right, they are top 5 in pass defense. I'd like to see the
You're a Philly
offensive
fan.
line
Just say you're a Philly fan.
around.
Just say you're a Philly fan. You're a Philly fan and you're going for it. Just say it.
Well, I'm picking the
Just
Eagles,
say it.
yeah.
Just say it. Okay. That's what you got to say.
Aaron Donald might be the best defense player in the NFL, though, so I'm
gotta
very
reach-
excited to
You don't got to
see
reach in
him.
your hat of tricks. Just say you're an Eagles fan. You're hoping for it.
Well, I was just going to say I'm really excited to see the offensive line against their defensive line, their front seven, in particular Aaron Donald against whoever he's going to be lined up against, because it's going to be fun.
You can make any cute story you want, but the reality is you're an Eagles fan. You're picking the Eagles.
Well, yeah, I'm picking the Eagles.
Okay.
Baltimore taking Pittsburgh. I'll just say what I was excited for in the game. Baltimore taking on Pittsburgh. I'm taking Pittsburgh to win this one, even though they had a physical short week.
Pittsburgh.
I think Brown will be 100% healthy. Smith's going to be out, but I think they'll be all right. Juju Smith-Schuster. New England taking on Miami in a double-digit line from Vegas. Jay Cutler doesn't pull it off.
That's your quarterback.
Well, I like Tom Brady way more.
Me too. I'm taking non-smoker. I'm taking Tom Brady.
I'm taking Tom Brady too. He's vegan, so Colin Kaepernick is. That's why he can't get a job. But Tom Brady's vegan. That's why he wins Super Bowls. Never forget, JD Sports with your cheap plug as always. I vote him as Time Person of the Year, not Donald Trump. If I had a vote,
Donald Trump. They would vote for Donald Trump. Time never votes for Donald. It's fake news.
White nigga, dog nigga, faux nigga, real
next
nigga,
week.
rich nigga, po nigga, house nigga.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching Full Ways.
Yeah.
Still nigga. Light nigga, dark nigga, faux nigga, real nigga, rich nigga, po nigga, house nigga, feel nigga. Still nigga. Still nigga.